tackle on the road one there. Alright. Oh, you can take your best chance. Evening everyone, welcome. Usual things about phones being turned off or on silent please, so we avoid beeping. Don't know if you all know, this evening it's Pauline doing the talk rather than the usual sorry if you're expecting a monk, but she does a great talk and yeah, she's very entertaining. So enjoy the talk and we'll be starting in shortly. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi. Hello. Lots of people. Is anyone here for the very first time? Welcome. Yeah. My name is Pauline. The usual teacher here, as everyone else knows, is Gentalopa. And Gentalopa, have you already said? Maybe you've already said, sorry. But he's gone to Manjushri the temple in Ulverston in the Lake District for about a month. And he's gone with all the other resident teachers from the whole of the world. So all the resident teachers go before the summer festival. And they talk about their teachings and they study and they talk about their programs for the rest of the year and about you probably as well. So it's very productive, very important time. So he asked me to take the class for 3 weeks. So I hope that's okay. And let's enjoy it together. Yeah. So distraction is, have you felt distracted today? It's a thing, isn't it? It's a thing always, really. I think perhaps our world is getting more distracted as well. So everyone around us is distracted. It used to be a bit of a shock, didn't it? If someone's used their phone while they were talking to you, we used to think, oh, that's a bit rude. But everybody just does that now, don't they? They're talking to someone and they're talking to you at the same time. So it's really not until we stop and try to meditate that we notice how distracted we are. So everything feels okay, but in meditation, what we're trying to do is settle our mind, and then peace will come. We don't put peace in to our mind. Peace is already there. It's underneath all the distraction. So if we've got more distraction, then we've got more work to do, really, to find the peace within our mind. So you've made the right decision tonight, haven't you, to come and do some meditation. So I thought that today, the meditation that we do, I think it's got a name like absorption of cessation. It's not quite, it's a little bit more complicated than the meditation we're going to do, but it sounds very difficult, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, I call it a piece of wood meditation. Right? So what we're going to try and do is keep our mind be like a piece of wood. So obviously you're not a piece of wood. We're all animate objects, not inanimate objects. We're going to try to be like an inanimate object. So what we're going to do is imagine that we are like that, and then as thoughts and distractions come into our mind, we try and let them go. So the same as you do with the breathing meditation, but you just try and let them go. Do some of you know this already, this one? Yeah? No? Not so many? That's good. Well, it's nice. And so what happens with the meditation often, isn't it? We follow our thoughts. So sometimes by the end of the meditation you think, oh, I don't know why I was thinking about sausages, do you? Because you followed a train of thought, like one thing and then one thing leads to another, one thing leads to another. Because we give the thought a power. We give the thought, a thought won't exist unless you think it. So we can, if we don't think it, then it doesn't exist. So the thought will come, and instead of following it, we just say, well, you're saying shut up, but we're saying shut up to our mind because it's always so chatty, isn't it? And it's so thinky. But don't say shut up in a cruel way, Don't shouting shut up. Be kind to ourselves. So probably just be quiet. We say be quiet. Something like that rather than shut up. So when the thought appears, and we just go back into that. So what we're doing is we're absorbing all our thoughts and feelings into this imaginary piece of wood. Do you think we can do that? Do you think you can? You're going to try? Good. Right. Well, we're going to have the liberating prayer. We're going to listen to the liberating prayer. If you haven't been before, you'll see there's a text that you can follow if you want. You can join in, or you can just relax and get yourself ready for your meditation. Okay. Thanks.
O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion, bestower of supreme inner peace, you who love all beings without exception, are the source of happiness and goodness, and you guide us to the liberating path. Your body is a wish-fulfilling jewel. Your speech is supreme purifying nectar, and your mind is refuge for all living beings. With folded hands I turn to you, supreme unchanging friend. I request from the depths of my heart, please give me the light of your wisdom to dispel the darkness of my mind, and to heal my mental continuum. Please nourish me with your goodness, that I in turn may nourish all beings with an unceasing banquet of delight. Through your compassionate intention, your blessings and virtuous deeds, and my strong wish to rely upon you, may all suffering quickly cease, and all happiness and joy be fulfilled, and may holy Dharma flourish forevermore.
So now just make yourself comfortable in your chair. Don't rush into your meditation. Just take a moment to get ready. Just check that your body is comfortable, that you've let go of any tension, that you can just let go of, and just let it dissolve away. And check that your back is straight, relaxed, but straight and comfortable. And then just take a moment to check in with yourself, with your thoughts and feelings. You know, if you've been busy, then your mind will be busy. if you've been excited, it will be, feel excited. So just let go of busy. Everything that you've been concerned about, just let it go. Imagine that it melts into light and disappears. And we can ask ourselves, would I like to have a peaceful mind? And then listen to our answer. So imagine all the walls of the room just dissolve away. All the people around you just come in, just to yourself in your seat. And then we can say to ourselves, just like a piece of wood. An inanimate object. Just completely solid. And let your awareness just sink into that piece of wood. Just let it absorb, everything absorb in. All your thoughts, all your feelings. Even the person that you are. Absorb in until it's nothing but a solid piece of wood. And then stay relaxed without being tense about it, but just if your thoughts arise, just let them absorb back into their piece of wood. If thoughts start to pop up, we don't develop them, absorb them back in. Just leave you like this, just for a few minutes, just enjoying the process. just check now and then whether you've become distracted, whether your mind has started to be active again. So just let go, just let the thoughts absorb back into the piece of wood. If our thoughts are persistent, we could just say stop, drop. Whichever helps, just drop it, come back. So if we've managed to, even just a bit, to absorb our thoughts and feelings, we can just relax. It's so nice to be a piece of wood. No thoughts, no feelings, no self, no worries. Just enjoy a few minutes of peace and calm. If you felt very distracted tonight, just don't give up. Just for the last minute, then just try again. Come back. Quickly change into a piece of wood. absorb in, stay. So now just slowly relaxing your concentration, but don't rush out of your meditation. Come out slowly, just like you did go in. If you felt more peaceful, you felt calmer, you managed to let go of that busyness, even for just a few moments. Hold that in your heart. And just let your mind rise up when you're ready. So, how did you get on? Did you like that meditation? Did you like? Yeah? It's nice. Also, it's very useful. It's useful to use for meditation. It's something you can do for a pop-up meditation, isn't it? But it's quite useful in day-to-day life as well, because if something happens and you don't want to react in a negative way, it's very good to use that piece of wood. You know, if someone astonishes you in some way or says something outrageous, and you, for a minute, or you might be going to be angry, you know, you may, but you could just piece of wood, just for a moment, and then it gives you a moment to gather your thoughts. Oh, thank you. Thanks. Yeah, so very useful. Don't forget it in the cut and thrust of life. It's very good just to stop. Now, we live in a very disturbed world, don't we? Very disturbing and very disturbed world. So it's very easy for our minds to become disturbed as well. And because our minds are disturbed, then we feel very uncomfortable, very unpleasant, and unhappy. That's the mind we're not looking to get. But when we just look at the outside world, it's very easy to become disturbed. And when we become disturbed, we try and sort out the world a bit. And we try and sort it out so that it has a little bit of structure to it, so that we can deal with it. So we have lots of strategies for that. Some of them are really good, and most of you've lived a while, and some not quite so long. But you still always start to learn. You know, we start to learn strategies in order to put our world a little bit in order, don't we? Like just something like, let's make a cup of tea. You know, if everyone's upset, let's make a cup of tea and just put that in order. And we try and order things in our external world as best we can. And yes, so what happens though is that it's very difficult to organise the outside world, isn't it? Because it doesn't conform to our wishes. It doesn't conform to what we want. So we're continually trying to sort things out, you know, and to make things better, you know, we feel as if we could make things better. We say, like, maybe, you know, we're really stressed and what we need is a holiday, and then maybe to go on a holiday. That'll sort things out. And sometimes it does, doesn't it? Sometimes it's terrible, isn't it? Sometimes we come back, or we have to take ourselves with us anyway, don't we? So we've got our mind when we go. And many problems sometimes. I hope not. And it is helpful, but we have to come back. So there's many suggestions maybe. Sometimes you think, do you know what? I'd feel better if I had a new kitchen. And then maybe that would be better. I'd feel so much happier if I didn't have this tatty old kitchen. And then maybe we'll get that too. I don't know if you've ever tried to have a kitchen fitted, but it's quite stressful actually, isn't it? So it's quite difficult to do that. I remember years ago, I was suffering some anxiety and unhappiness, and I went to the doctor. And the doctor said to me, why don't you have a baby? So it wasn't really very helpful. You know, that it's not so helpful, is it? You know, if you're unhappy and then you have a baby, life becomes a lot more stressful, doesn't it, really, when you're looking after a baby? So these are the kind of things that are suggested, aren't they, that come, but because our mind's disturbed and we try and organise our world like that, our mind becomes even more disturbed. You know, imagine that. You know, it doesn't give us the happiness that we want. It doesn't give us the satisfaction that we're looking for. So we look. Our mind is even more disturbed, and then because it's more disturbed, we try and organise our world a bit more, and then it becomes, because we're becoming more stressed, everything becomes more difficult. So it's really not the answer, is it, to do that, to look at the external world. And so in the new 8 Steps to Happiness, this is on right at the beginning on here. We try to change things. This book, New 8 Steps to Happiness, is the Buddhist way of loving kindness. Yeah. So it's not the one we usually use, but there is a copy, there are copies outside. It's a beautiful book, and says that, you know, that we're always trying to change things. You know, if we feel stressed or unhappy, we think, well, you know, if I change this, then that will be better. If I change this, it will be better. In fact, we're going through all the day really thinking, oh, if I just change this, it'll be better. You know, if I just have a coffee, I'd be better. Just small things like that. If I just have a sit down, that would be better. We say, oh, that's better. Don't we want to do that? Oh, I've had a cup of tea, that's better. Oh, I'll have to stand up, you know, that's better. Oh, that person's gone away. Oh, that's better. You know, we're constantly looking for external things to change things. But what he says in this paragraph is that we can change things, continually be changing things, but it's really not going to give us the peace and the happiness that we want. You know, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for some content, aren't we? Some relaxation, just some peace. But what's happening is we're actually piling on more stuff onto ourselves and more difficulties. This is just one sentence here. It says, we could change our home or our partner countless times. But until we change our restless, discontented mind, we will never find real happiness. Yeah. That's a real killer sentence. Eh? We could change our home or our partner countless times, but until we change our restless, discontented mind, we will never find real happiness. Now, when he says this, he said, you know, if you want to have a new home, you know, or you want to have a new partner, there's nothing wrong with doing that. But it's not going to give us the happiness we seek. Do you see the difference? You know, if things need to be changed, then obviously we do need to change them. You don't stick with the same house that you had all your life, you know, just because we're going to change our mind. If you want to live somewhere different and the circumstances. But it's not the be-all and end-all, is it? It's not going to sort out this our restless and discontented mind. Is it? And that's our distraction, restless, always looking as well. So what we need to do is look within. We need to change our mind. So let's think about that. Why are we discontented, and what do we need to change? Buddha had a lot of solutions to this, and this is where we're looking at in the mind. Buddha said that it's the negativity within our mind that prevents us from experiencing peace. So he called it delusion, and that is the negativity. But the delusion is simply passing through the mind. The mind is naturally peaceful, but these delusions are what's getting in the way of us experiencing our peace. The delusions, the function of a delusion is to make the mind, is to disturb the mind. So if our mind is disturbed and unhappy, we can be sure that there's a delusion there. But delusions aren't permanent within the mind. So when we're looking at our mind, so we're going to change our mind, this is where we're going to look. So we're going to look within. So he did say that we've got quite a few delusions. Do you know how many we've got? Do you want to have a guess? Is there a gambler in the house? 100? Over 100? Any advance? Do I hear 200? Do I hear? What do you think? More than 1,000? More than 1,000? More than 1,000? Do you more than 2,000? Higher? Shall I tell you? 8,000. How many is it? 84,000. 84,000 delusions we've got. It's quite a few, isn't it? There's quite a few to go for. Yeah, but not to worry about that. It sounds, oh gosh, that sounds like hard work, doesn't it? We've got to get rid of all those 84,000 delusions. But he did give 84,000 teachings to cure the delusions, right? So it's possible to actually destroy all those delusions. So what we're looking for with delusions is we're looking to notice them to begin with, to notice them. Yeah. So even noticing, that distraction is noticing, we're starting to notice that our mind is going out, looking for happiness externally. So we can notice them, and then we can reduce them, and then we can finally destroy them. And when we've got no delusion in our mind, that's a pure mind. It's a peaceful and a calm mind with no delusions. Perfectly possible. Buddha taught that anyone, all Buddhas, all the enlightened beings have no delusion, but had as many, they had all 84,000 at one time. So that's what we're looking at. But the good news about it is that there actually can be the root delusions of the 84,000 can be kind of condensed into 3. So there's attachment, anger, and ignorance. So those are the 3. And they're called the 3 poisons, often known as the 3 poisons, because they poison our mind, they poison our inner peace. So we can't experience the inner peace within our mind because of these delusions, and so they're poison as far as we're concerned. Right. So let's look at, I wanted to just look at one particular one. So what happens with delusion is we think that external things are cause for happiness. So, like for instance, we think that the kitchen is a cause for of happiness. Everyone wants to be happy, and so we're always seeking happiness, but we always always seeking happiness in the wrong place. We're looking in external things. So we look externally to see what can make us happy. So when we see something we like, we think that will make me happy. yeah? And we like it. So we're drawn to it, attracted. And then if we see something we don't like, we have aversion to it, we don't like it, and that's not going to make us happy, it's going to make us unhappy. So we don't want it, so we're pushing away. So we're pushing away things that we don't want, and we're pulling things together towards us that we do want. So it makes us very unstable, actually. We're always like up and down, you know, I like this, I want to keep this, and I don't want this, and I don't want you in my life, I want you in my life. You know, so constantly, you know, our mind is up and down, up and down. So instead of that peace that the peace that we long for, our mind's going up, happy, you know, with something that's good, down, you know, if unhappy. Yeah. So the one I wanted to look at was desirous attachment. So attachment, it's called desirous attachment. So all desires aren't delusions. So we might desire simply to have a glass of water. You know, if you're thirsty and have a glass of water, then that's a wish and desire. But it's not a negative desire. But desirous attachment is something that we grasp onto with the belief that it will make us happy. And it develops in a certain way. So it's really nice to see, because we can actually see how desirous attachment develops. So desirous attachment develops. This is how to understand the mind, right? So Geshe Kelsang Gyatso Rinpoche has written a whole book about the mind. And the parts of the mind, and an explanation about how our mind works, and how we can understand it in order to the nature and power of the mind. So how we can harness the power of the mind. We can't fully use the power of our mind when it's distracted by delusion. So he explains in here about delusions. So if you're interested, these books, they're probably not entry-level book, but you can study these. They're on study programs. They can be studied. Yeah. So desirous attachment develops as follows. First, we perceive or remember an object. He says it's a contaminated object, and that means it's not a source of happiness when he says that. So we perceive or remember a contaminated object and feel it to be attractive, and then we focus our attention on its good qualities and exaggerate them. So delusions are a distorted state of mind. So if you've been here for the last few weeks, we've been talking about emptiness, about things not having inherent existence, haven't we? About that the way we perceive things is not the way that they actually are. And this explains this delusion. Attachment is like that too. So we focus our attention on its good qualities and exaggerate them. So when we see something and we think it's attractive, we start to just see the good qualities of it. We don't see the negative qualities of it. So we exaggerate them. We think they're better than they are. We're often sold things like this, aren't we? Know all the good qualities of something, and not the negative qualities. You know, when you sold something, they don't say it'll probably break down, you know, or anything like that, do they? Or it has a design fault, but we're not going to tell you about it. Yeah, I know I bought a washing machine once, and I was, you know, so many washing machines, and the woman was helping me to choose a washing machine. So when I'd looked at them all and I chose the one, I said, why do I like this one? And she said, it's because, and then she said, blah, 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 all the good qualities of the washing machine. And then I'm like, yeah, this is the best washing machine. And then I'm happy, you know, happy about that. So it exaggerates the good qualities. inform people. We were saying this is more of a woman's dress, but I think perhaps women do this, but I'll just tell you it anyway, and they won't all. But you know, if you say to a woman, "I like your dress," and it's got pockets, she always says, "Just test it." She says, "It's got pockets." So you know, like, I like your dress, that's nice. And here's another good quality of the dress as well. So isn't it a nice dress? So, you know, if we check those things, we're always, that's what's happening. So with an exaggerated sense of the attractiveness of the object, we then hold it to be desirable and develop desire for it. We hold it. So that's the grasping. We grasp on. So we grasp onto anything that we're attached to. We grasp onto it quite tightly. And we hold it to be desirable and develop desire for it. Finally, our desire attaches us to the object so that it feels as if we have become glued to it or absorbed into it. I like that. So we like, this is the best thing, we think, don't we, of something that we want. And then glue, super glue, you know, our mind is attached to it. I like that, absorbed, and our mind goes into it. So our mind becomes part of that object. Yeah, I'll explain a little bit. So when we talk about object, it isn't always an object like a table. An object can be a state of mind, or it can be something that's not material. It can be like a routine, you know, like maybe your routine for doing things. Do you see that? That's right. And this is the best routine, and this is the best way to do it. You know, and our mind will be absorbed in that as well. So there's, when it says object, it's not just things. You know, sometimes we think, well, I don't like shopping. You know, but it's not just. You know, it's not just about that. Yeah. So only when these stages are completed has desirous attachment occurred. But also, I think one of the really important things to say is that once we are grasping onto an object and we feel that it's attractive and we want it and we need it, we believe it to be true. That's the thing. We believe it to be true. So we've exaggerated all the good qualities of it. You know, nothing's perfect, is it? But we believe we get those objects, and then we believe it to be true. Yeah. So very often happens, you know, when you meet someone, maybe a friend or a new partner, that as well. You know, in the early stages of a relationship, you know, they just dazzle you. Don't you? Never met anybody like that before. If you've ever had that, you know, it's not true, is it? You find out later. But it's not true. But it's nice, isn't it? You know, if you've ever had that, that's great. But, you know, it's not. Yeah. Do you know, I'm going to tell you about this. When I was young, I was young once. I was young once. I had a boyfriend, and I thought he was wonderful. And all my mother hated him, and my father hated him, and my friends didn't like him much, you know. And even a couple of times, complete strangers said to me, "Why are you with him?" So obviously, stepping back out of that, there must have been something wrong with him, wasn't there? But he was just perfect, you know. And the other people, they've missed something, haven't they? They've missed something about him because I've exaggerated the good qualities. You know, it was lovely. You know, I had like dark hair and blue eyes. So yeah, he was nice, but he wasn't perfect. So other people could see, can't they? And if ever you've had a friend who's been in that situation, you can see that they just, what it is you're under a spell, aren't you? At that time, you're actually under a spell. Yeah. And that's what, do you remember with the emptiness that Gentilope has been teaching as well? It's like that we're under the magician's spell about how things how things are real. So that's how it develops, and we can just look at some ways in which we're experiencing that, because the whole of our day-to-day life, the whole of our life is actually governed by attachment, and it's quite difficult to see because we're within it. And Buddha taught once that it's quite easy to get anger. It is a similar delusion, is that we see something we don't like and we exaggerate the negative qualities of something that makes us angry. The same, but with attachment, we're exaggerating the positive qualities of it. So there is pleasure. There is some temporary pleasure often in those things. If you see ice cream or something like that, it's nice to have an ice cream, isn't it? We think, oh, that's going to be wonderful, and then you're never meant to have an ice cream, or it makes you feel sick, or you're sorry because you weren't going to have any ice cream that day, as well. So, but at the time, that seems the most wonderful thing to have. But Buddha said that attachment is a bit like oil in cloth. That it's quite difficult to get oil out of cloth. It's difficult to wash it out, isn't it, as well? So it is quite difficult, because most of our life is governed by attachment, but also most of our unhappiness and suffering is governed by attachment too. So in How to Understand the Mind, if you read it, there's many ways to understand attachment, but I thought it's quite useful. This is what attachment is also in the past, the present, and the future. In our mind. So in the past, it's like nostalgia. Like the good old days. There was nothing so good as the good old days, were there? We often think everything was okay then. You often hear that, don't you? People say, oh, didn't used to be like this. It used to be. And we like clinging on to the way things used to be, because we believe. So if we're attached, we are attached to the past. And if we attach onto that and say, that was better, than it is now, that makes us unhappy, doesn't it? Makes us longing, and it's not really true, is it, that everything was perfect in the past? Is it? Someone was saying to me recently how wonderful it was the way children used to be able to play out. He said, like in the 1950s, that we all used to play out and never came back in until it was time for tea. People often say that, don't they? And as if it was an idyll, children went missing, children got kidnapped, didn't they? Children, it was the same world, really. It wasn't perfect. In the present, what we cling on to, many things. We're worried in the present about what we lose, and so, maybe our money, things that we have, the things that we haven't got. The thing in the present, we're worrying about what we'd like to get. Very concerned about that. What if I said to you, someone's hacked into your bank account? Right, you're sat here, but while you're sat here, someone's hacked into your bank account. What does that feel like? Do you feel a bit worried? It's attached, aren't we? We're attached to our money. Money is happiness. We often say, if I had money, if I had money resources, then I would be happy. In the present, we're often concerned about what other people have got as well. We think we haven't got things that we maybe that we wanted to have and we haven't got, we're attached to, and somebody else has it. Then attachment leads to, and it's like a root delusion, isn't it? Someone else has it, or someone you have has taken it away. Then we feel jealous, envy comes from that, and unhappiness. So our worry does that. And worrying about the future, in the future we're attached to how things are going to be in the future, aren't we? We're attached to our plans about how things are going to be, and we don't know how things are going to be. We think, this is it. When we become attached to something, I'm attached to this future which I've imagined. It often doesn't happen, does it? And yet we can worry about it. We worry about things. It's not always good. We worry about things maybe not turning out so good, or they're not turning out the way we want them to be. And all those things are attachment. My next door neighbour told me this afternoon about somebody who had planned all their funeral. It was a couple, and they planned all the funeral, and what hymns they wanted, and what service they wanted, and what prayers they wanted, and they had it all written down, everything. And he said, he said when they died, nobody did any of those things. They didn't do those things. So it's just like a waste, really, wasn't it? It was a waste of time, to get too attached or too worried about that. And we do worry about the future, don't we? Sometimes people worry about their own funeral. They think, I don't want certain people to go and things like that, and they write it down. They won't be here, will they? This is the thing about attachment, is it thinks something is real and thinks it's true. Like we've learned about emptiness, is that everything lacks inherent existence, but we actually believe that it has true existence. We think that it is true and permanent. So we think that things are permanently going to be like that when they're not. So attachment makes us unhappy. That's the thing about it. So we say, well, so what? What about attachment? It doesn't matter, does it? But it does matter, because it makes our mind unstable. Because when we've got something we want, when something good happens, our mind goes up. And when something bad happens, our mind goes down, or we lose something we've got, or things don't go the way we planned. Our mind goes down. If they go up, or if we're pleased with the way things are, we get pride, So we've got an unstable mind. We can't help ourselves. Our mind is constantly in motion. This distraction is about attachment. If we let go of attachment, what happens? For peace. It doesn't mean to say that we don't care about our life anymore, but anything, what can happen? Anything can happen. We don't know what can happen, do we? And so, we can be happy internally if we let go of that grasping of things being, like we want them to be. It can be very urgent for us to get things the way we want them. Here, there's a book, if someone's sick or has died, and we can write in the book for prayers for that. So if you didn't know about it, you can use that if there's anything. Well, my daughter said to me, will you write my name in the book? Because I want this house I'm buying. So I said to her, well, it's not really for that. It's for people who are sick or dying or suffering, or if they're dying. And she said, well, if I don't get this house, I'll die. But though it's kind of funny, she was so kind of joking, that's the way we feel, isn't it? We feel if this doesn't turn out this way, or grasping, if I don't get this job, if I don't do this, if this person doesn't behave in this way, this is going to kill me. I sometimes, you do say that, don't you? Sometimes when things are going wrong, you say, this is killing me, But it's not. It's not. But we feel like that with that grasping and that tightness, this is not what I want. So we're saying no, aren't we? We're saying no to things we want, and we're saying yes, we're trying to collect all the things to make everything in our world, like that. So, everyone, you're very caring people, all of you, and you have a lot of responsibilities. I come across people who are looking after like 3 generations. They're looking after 3 generations, then they're looking after their children, and they're trying to manage their money, they're trying to do everything. They're busy all the time, and a lot of it is trying to help people, isn't it? So it becomes very stressful, and it becomes very hard, but we're all grasping. It's almost like we sometimes feel, don't we, as if you're trying to hold the world up. With that, we're trying to work, we're trying to pay for things, we're trying to keep everybody happy, aren't we? So another thing that we're attached so much to is our own expectation of ourselves, isn't it? It's our expectation that we can be perfect. There's this, the good qualities. We exaggerate the possibility of the good qualities that we can have. And we exaggerate, and we also exaggerate how awful it's going to be if it all caves in, because things are impermanent, aren't they? They're always going to change. We can't. And the same with our expectations for others. We're attached to our expectation of what others should be like. We expect them to be perfect. We know that we can't be perfect, but we expect you to be perfect. We're attached to that expectation as well. So all those, but if we let go of those, it doesn't mean to say that we stop doing anything. We just continue our life the same, but we just let go of that grasping. Things may turn out, they may not, they may, but you'll be happy within our mind whatever happens. If we just let go of the grasping, what happens? Peace. Isn't it? It's just peace. And that's the peace that we want. Just let go, let go, let go. Buddha tells a story of, just quickly and then we'll do a meditation, but Buddha tells a story of a child making a sandcastle, and makes a beautiful sandcastle. And then as it's finished, the tide comes in and just washes it away. Yeah. And the child cries, so unhappy, because there's sandcastle. And that's actually what we build, isn't it, in our lives? We built in a sandcastle. Death, sickness, aging, all these things, impermanent. Everything is impermanent. But if we can live within that knowledge, we live within wisdom, we're actually aligning ourselves with the truth. When the child, the parents comfort the child about the sandcastle, and maybe they come back the next day and build another, and then they kind of know at that time, the next time we know, don't we, that the sandcastle is going to be washed away. But it was beautiful, it was nice, and now it's gone. So we learn as the child learns, and with wisdom, we learn with wisdom that things are impermanent. So we can just, with small things in our life, we can think, this won't last, but I'll enjoy it, without grasping. And then our mind is peaceful. What do you think? Do you think you'd like to be able to let go of a bit of attachment? Would you? Let's do a meditation. I think with the meditation what we'd do is, if there's anything that's touched you or anything that you've thought that you thought would be helpful, use that too. We can just look at attachments in our lives, and then we can imagine we're going to let them go and experience peace at the end of the meditation. Okay, so just relaxing, just make yourself a nice meditation space. So just bring yourself into your own meditation space, although we're near the end of the evening. Just let go of what's going to happen next and just stay here now in your meditation space. And we can think about the things that we want and the things that we long for, the things that we grasp at. And most of those things that we think are important will be washed away. But what is important is what's in our mind. If we let go of the grasping, the clinging, the wishing that things would be different, only peace. And with a peaceful mind, we can be relaxed. If good things happen, we just keep a steady mind. And if difficult things happen, we still keep a peaceful mind, because the mind is steady, unstable. We're not holding on to impermanent things. Maybe as you contemplate, you decide that you would like to let go of some attachment. So we can hold that determination. Or maybe you'd like to think of just maybe one thing that you can take into your life, something that you could relax, let go of the grasping, just allow it to be, and know that your happiness is within you and not in this thing. So before you finish your meditation, just stay centered. We've created a lot of positive energy this evening by thinking, contemplating, meditating. So hold that in your heart. Dedicate it to your own happiness, to your own freedom, and to the happiness and freedom of others. Just let your mind rise up. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, can I just mention this? Can I just mention this? There's three courses the next 3 Saturdays, 5th of July, 12th of July, 19th of July. And there's a special offer on it. If you buy one, you get one for £5. One course is £20, 2 courses £25, 3 courses £30. So it's a good deal. And this one, this Saturday, is I'm back here overcoming stress. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.